your screen and make a reservation. Okay, today I have somebody in studio. His name is Aron Mugaiga, and he is the Secretary General for Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, and he is going to tell us more about the union and what they do. But first, he introduces himself and says hi to you, our viewers. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Carlo. Yes, good morning, our dear viewers and listeners. My name is Aron Mugaiga, the General Secretary, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union. Yeah, thank you for hosting us.
All right. The Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union is a union of science teachers. Tell us more about it and their mandate in Uganda.
Yes, the Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union is a labor union for all science teachers in Uganda. It brings together all the science teachers in all secondary schools and post-secondary schools in Uganda. You can talk of the instructors in technical institutions, the scientists in PTCs, those science tutors. We can talk about the science lecturers in NTCs, and all scientists in all training institutions in Uganda, starting with secondary and above, excluding universities. Yes.
Okay. Anything to add? Maybe when the union started and its impact on the teachers, the science teachers thus far.
Yes, thank you very much. The Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, as I earlier said, is a union for all science teachers in Uganda. It started in the year 2019. At the beginning stages of the year 2019. And the purpose of starting this union, it was intended to cover a gap that existed in the then representation that the science teachers and the teachers in general were facing. As science teachers, there were issues where our interests and rights were not being protected. Our interests were not being pursued. For example, there was an element of science teachers being denied the right to be recognized as scientists. This is something we tried pushing forth through our then labor union, but they couldn't represent us well. They were claiming that science teachers are just teachers, they are not scientists. And yet, those that they produce are scientists. For example, you will realize that the medical practitioners, those doctors and the nurses, pass through the hands of science teachers. The engineers, the agriculturalists, the environmentalists, all those are our products. We, the teachers of biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, ICT, and mentioned but a few. Food and nutrition, all those science-related disciplines. So we found it unbecoming for anyone to say that me, a biologist, I am not a scientist. Then the person I have taught, who is now an agriculturalist, okay, let me now be specific. Let me use an agriculture teacher. I went and studied agriculture domain, maybe at Makerere University. I come into the teaching profession. I train a person who subsequently becomes an agriculturalist. And you will find them at the districts, there in local government. They are considered as scientists, and me, I'm not a scientist.
Yet you are the one who taught.
Yes. So we felt that there was a gap which needed to be covered, and many others. So whenever the government could come to enhance pay for all scientists, as per the policy of government by then, the science teachers could always be left out. Yet earlier in 2014, the science teachers had been recognized as scientists and paid a top-up allowance of 30%, as it was done for other scientists across the board. Now, when it came to 2018, when they were to increase the pay for all scientists, the graduate scientists, those engineers, agriculturalists, and all the science teachers, to 2.2 million, and then the diploma to 1.2 million. That's where the issues started from. Our then labor union had to negotiate downwards. It was against the pay. Other scientists got their pay enhancement, but for the one of science teachers, it was not implemented. They fought against it. So we felt that science teachers were not represented, our interests were not represented, and on top of many other issues, we said it was time for us to come out and get space to be able to speak for ourselves. And we started this labor union. We went through the process of registration, of course, which was a tiresome one. It took us 3 years, and we succeeded in early 2021. And we went also through other processes of formalization with the law and government until we signed the recognition agreement, call it a memorandum of understanding between our union and government of Uganda to allow us to represent all science teachers in Uganda. And we have gone some steps so far. We have arranged and programmed our organization. We have laid down structures. We have established the national head office, which is currently at Ntinda, Commercial Street. Then we have offices, regional offices in all the regions, sub-regions of Uganda, the 15 of them. And we are continuously expanding. Now we are heading to the districts where we shall also establish offices. All we are doing is to make sure that we bring our services closer to our members. So the members don't have to travel to Kampala or to travel to the regions. They can be able to access our services through those branch offices that we have established. And we also managed to enter a negotiation with government. We bargained for salary enhancement. We protected the government's position and the policy of enhancing pay, but starting with the scientists. Because the idea by government was that they could not manage to enhance pay for all workers of government. And they had a policy that they would start with a portion of the workers and who are scientists. Then the other workers would be worked on in the subsequent budgets. This was vehemently objected by other labor organizations, especially our sister labor organizations. And for us, our take was, look, we already have an experience that happened in 2018, where government said we cannot afford to pay all at once, but we can start with a section of workers. Then we handle the pay enhancement in a phased manner, which people rejected. And for us, we said, look, no, this is the way. Because when it was objected to, none of us benefited. The science teachers never got the money, neither did the arts teachers to get the money. Even in primary, none got. That money disappeared just like that, because we could not reason it out objectively in the right way it should be. And they wanted to make the same mistake even in this last year, 2022, in this enhancement. And that's how you saw us standing up. And we moved actually explaining to the public across all media houses, trying to make sure we bring this to the knowledge of the public and even to the government, because we had very many opposers. The opposition was great, saying, you
from
see,
fellow teachers?
Even the fellow teachers, these are sister labor organizations of the teachers, and even from some government officers. They objected this. We found ourselves on one side, and the head of state, whom we thank actually greatly every time we get an opportunity, and I want to thank him once again. I want to take this opportunity to thank the President of Uganda, retired General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for standing with us during that time, because he stood his ground. The resistance was too much. It was fierce even on our side, but he stood his word. And we had also some support from other government officers, although majority were against it. But we said, no, this is what we need done. One, recognize science teachers as scientists. to pay them as scientists, like as scientists, because this would actually affect the economy in the long run, because the government was looking at leading a science-led economy.
Okay.
And we have seen this with other nations that have put science and technology in front to lead everything. We have seen how they have actually developed past others. So it was high time Uganda adopted this policy, and it was long overdue. And this was not to say that other teachers should not benefit, but we are saying when the government handles it in a phased manner, then it reduces the burden. Like right now, on pay enhancement, science teachers currently are not agitating for pay enhancement. The doctors, the engineers, the agriculturalists, the environmentalists, the statisticians, computer scientists, and all those, they are already enhanced. Government did its work in 2022. Now, we have a section of workers, those in the humanities, the arts teachers, we have human resource officers, we have records officers in the districts, and many other managers and administrators that fall in the category of humanities. They are not yet enhanced. But you can realize that as government is planning to do the enhancement, it is going to be substantive in that the burden has reduced. One section is already enhanced, so when government is picking up this other section, it is also going to pick it up and enhance them significantly. And this was our point. Yes. So, we managed to get that pay enhancement and the recognition of science teachers as scientists. And right now, as we speak, those scientists in the education sector are equally motivated as these other scientists in other sectors. So that is what our union is standing for, and that is what it has so far achieved for the teachers. And we are continuously, of course, representing them. There are many other legal issues that come up. There are differences, you know, as human beings. When people are at work, sometimes they can get issues and challenges. So we get very many cases of the same, and we have established a full-fledged legal department at the head office. We have lawyers. We have partnered with various law firms that are able to manage the cases that come along and helping our science teachers to settle. And by doing this, it has enabled those science teachers to settle at their workplaces. And science now is being taught quite well, as it is practical in nature. The science teachers are giving more time now to the learners. But of course, it can't be done just in 1 year. We shall keep improving year by year.
Interesting. Now, there's a number of issues you've mentioned that are of importance or that the public needs to know. But first, to start with, before the recognition and the pay increase of science teachers, what would be the difference between teaching sciences and teaching arts? Maybe someone could be wondering.
Yes, this has always been an issue of contention. Even when the contention is not necessary, sometimes people want to contend that the teaching of science and the teaching of arts is the same. That all are teachers, because they teach in the same schools, work in the same environment.
Yeah.
That was the argument. Whereas we may not completely rubbish it, because it is true we work in the same environment and the same schools. But in that environment, we have some sub-enclosures where the science teachers, the teaching of science is done, and the teaching of arts is not done in the same place. For example, when you look at science by nature, it is both practical and theoretical. We have a section of theory and we have a section of practical. But even the theoretical science is also, we call it practical theory. Now, this is different from the element of humanities subjects, where they only deal with that theory and all that. The science teachers have got to go in these laboratories. I want to take an example of a chemistry teacher. Now, a chemistry teacher has got to undertake the teaching of chemistry, practical chemistry, and they will spend 60% of their time in the laboratories. For example, if he is conducting a practical of chemistry in a given class, maybe senior 3, and that practical is timetabled to take place maybe at 2 p.m. on Thursday, this teacher must start on Monday to prepare for that practical.
Oh.
Yes, he has got to go to the laboratory. And when I'm talking about preparation, because normally people argue that even the arts they prepare, yes, they do prepare. But the preparation I'm talking about, the teacher must go to this laboratory and actually undertake this practical 2 or 3 times before he conducts it physically now in the class. Because you must arrange this practical, conduct it, and see the results, examine them, so that when you go to teach it, you already know how it will work out. And leave alone the doing it once or twice before it is taught, but also planning for it. You have got to look for the apparatus, the equipment, which in most cases it is not available. So you end up improvising, and this consumes a lot of their brains and minds. You find when these science teachers are actually exhausted, and they have to be in these laboratories, and amidst all that, there are other challenges like laboratory accidents, where these teachers must deal with those chemicals, the acids. Some are very dangerous. The fumes that come from these chemicals, they inhale them and have an effect on their health. So, Carol, it is really, when we are talking about the teaching of science and the teaching of arts, the two are totally different. They may be taught by teachers. The word teacher may refer to all of them. But what they do on ground is totally different. And this has to do with physics as well, biology, agriculture, ICT. When you look at ICT, for example, people were arguing ICT is art, and we have a challenge where some people, by the way, Carol, we have some officers in government who are targeting some of these categories of scientists in education, and they are removing them from their pay enhancement. Like some ICT teachers have been removed, claiming that they are not scientists. Now, when you look at the ICT, the teaching of ICT, some of these teachers actually have a lot of challenges in those computer laboratories. For example, the teacher of ICT has got to face these radiations from these screens as they are doing the teaching. As they interact with these computers, there are a lot of those radiations, and some of these radiations are not good in the long run. They affect their health. After 5-10 years, you see some have to get goggles. Now the eyes can no longer operate well. This is unlike the teaching of other subjects. So when you look at some of these challenges, I think these teachers need to be some extra incentive has got to be added beyond, because we need to look also at the work these people are doing. These biology teachers have got to run in the bushes looking for specimen. They have to go to the rivers, they have to go to the forests, look for specimen, look for these toads, those amphibians, look for these reptiles, the snakes and whatever. So all those come with some extra effort and the challenges involved therein. So we cannot say that the teaching of art and science is the same. And it can only be understood by and explained by somebody who is actually doing the teaching. If you have not done the teaching of science, it may become very difficult for you. Even you, like Carol, I know you studied and you did science at some level, at all level. I know, I think looking at your age, you must have passed through at a time when sciences were made compulsory already. So you studied chemistry, you studied biology, physics. Now, you as a student, you can look back and see how tasky it was to handle chemistry. Compared maybe to these other subjects. Now, you at the level of a student, you could be called to simply come in class, where a teacher has already done the preparation and the arrangements. But it becomes tiresome for you. Now you imagine the teacher behind the preparation, 3 days before this practical lesson. You can imagine what they go through. So really, the teaching of the two is totally different, and the enhancement for science teachers, we appreciate it. But this is not to say that we do not want other teachers to be enhanced. And we have equally been agitating for the enhancement of other teachers, because they also need to be motivated. But we equally stand with them, and we implore government to put it in plan, to implement it, because it was already in plan. That's what they told us, that the enhancement is going to be phased, and we are starting with scientists, then we will be able to embark on the other categories of workers. And it is our prayer that the time between now and the implementation of this enhancement for the other categories of workers, not only teachers, by the way, as I mentioned earlier, we have other workers in local government. Those human resource officers, they are there. Those CDOs, we have the CFOs, they all need the enhancement. We have the accountants, they are there. So our prayer now as scientists is that the time between now and the implementation is lessened. Okay. That's our prayer. And then before I leave that point, I would like to implore the government officers who are targeting our members, the scientists, because after targeting those ICT teachers, now they embarked on the science tutors, claiming that the science tutors in those core PTCs are not scientists. And yet their salary is already enhanced, is already approved. There is a salary structure that is communicating this salary, but they have been removed. We have about 3 cases of core PTCs where the science tutors have been removed from the pay enhancement. They are now earning what they used to earn before. So we had a meeting with the Minister of Public Service and Minister of Education on the 23rd November, that was last year, and we agreed on some take-ons. But we see time is running out. We have equally written a reminder to government, Minister of Public Service, to make sure that what we agreed upon is implemented. Because these science tutors right now are suffering, in that when you have already given somebody a pay enhancement, they start planning on that enhancement. Some go for loans, even in these commercial banks, and at the end of the day, when you come and remove that pay enhancement, you're actually doing a disservice to government. There won't be service delivery. This teacher who was earning 4 million and took a salary loan at that amount, and then you come, maybe he was now earning like 1.4 million. Now you come and cut it back to 700,000, 1 million, yet is furnishing a loan at 1.4 million. It means they have nothing to take home. You don't expect them to offer services. So we are asking those officers of government that they reconsider their position and decision. Okay. Yeah, and in most cases, it is good if there is an issue, because we don't want to castigate that maybe it was done out of jealousy and out of... we do not want to go in that line. We want to say that maybe these government officers observed a challenge somewhere. But we would think the best way to solve such an issue would be allow the people to continue on their pay as we discuss to have the matter resolved. Okay. But do not implement by removing these persons who are already on their pay, that is already approved, and then you say we are now discussing sort of the matter, yet they are being affected. We took a number of representatives of the science tutors who of course spoke by themselves, and these government officers were able to listen to them, and we pray that this matter is resolved soonest. Because we have a lot of pressure also, as they are affected in their families, as they are affected in at their workplaces, they bring that pressure to us. And our work is to equally absorb that shock and the pressure, of course, encourage them but as we also negotiate with the employer, who is the government, to make sure that our people are taken care of in the right way possible.
Thank you. We do cross over to now the curriculum. There was a curriculum that the country followed for some bit of time, and it was realized that it was not effective enough, and then the new lower competence-based curriculum was introduced. Tell us about it and how exactly it is affecting. Is it positively affecting the students? Is it negatively affecting them? Which is which? Just shed a light on the new curriculum.
Well, thank you very much, Carlo. Yeah, the question of the new lower competence-based curriculum is a very interesting one, vis-a-vis the previous curriculum. But I want to first clarify this. You know, as human beings, sometimes we make mistakes. We tend to castigate where we have passed, as long as we have new things. Then we want to claim the other ones were the worst, and that's not the line we want to take as scientists. Because the curriculum that was there may not have been to the best of what we wanted, but we must realize that it has produced a number of products who are serving this nation diligently, by the way. And because when you look at the nation right now, the way it is, well, there is where we want it to be, in accordance, for example, with Vision 2040. But we must appreciate that these persons who passed through this previous curriculum are also products. They are competent, and they have been able to serve our nation. Which you are part of the product, I think, and you are doing your job quite well, by the way. Sir. So we can't castigate it completely. However, we must now appreciate the new lower competence-based curriculum. As the name suggests, competence-based curriculum. That speaks volumes. It means that the products we are going now to get out of this curriculum are going to be more competent. Maybe they are going to be more focused on the challenges faced by our society. The other curriculum was more theoretical, but this one is more practical. And right now, the teaching has changed completely. We are now in our 4th year. Actually, the pioneers of that curriculum are now in senior 4. They are going to sit the exams this year. But we are already seeing changes. The approach, all the schools that are implementing this curriculum quite well, trying to implement it to the level it is required, the students, the skills being imparted are visible. We had a demonstration of some of we exhibited some projects of the outcomes, some of the outcomes of the teaching of the competence-based curriculum on the Teachers' Day, World Teachers' Day, 5th. I don't know whether you attended that session at Kororo. If you didn't, maybe you followed it on online, your TVs and other media houses. We had our union, the Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, exhibited some science projects that are a product of the teaching in these schools, actually following the competence-based curriculum. So that I want to bring out and demonstrate how positive this curriculum actually is impacting the education sector. Today, when you go to those schools, you realize that the teaching completely changed. There is a lot of transformation going on now in the lives of the learners, in that now we are focusing more on the skills the learners are to acquire and come out with. So that by the level of senior 4, this candidate of senior 4, whenever they get out, they should be able to at least join the community and be able to use their skills to do something in solving problems facing our society and communities. This is unlike the previous curriculum. So this focus, once it continues, the next 10, 15, 20 years, we are going to see a more developed country. Production is going to increase, and the economy, obviously, it is going to cause a multiplier effect on the economy. So, however, there are some challenges, of course. This curriculum is expensive to implement.
Oh.
Yes, it is expensive, and yet schools run meager budgets. So it becomes, in some schools, it may be not effectively implemented. That's why we want to call upon government. For us as educationists and as Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, we want to implore the supervisory arm of government and the Ministry of Education and NCDC as well, to make sure that the implementation of this curriculum is properly supervised. And where need be, government can put some funds in budget to help in the implementation of this curriculum, not only in training the teachers, because so far the training of teachers has been done. Of course, not all teachers, but a good number has been retrained, retooled to make sure that they can competently handle this curriculum. But now, the side, also another positive is that the books, the instructional material has equally been developed by government and distributed in most of the schools. But now the other challenge is on the materials in terms of supplies, laboratory equipment, the supplies to these schools, to make sure that this curriculum is properly implemented. The government has to come up with a policy to add on those funds they give schools as capitation grants. They can put another package, which is specifically in the line of implementation of the competence-based curriculum, if we are to achieve the intended objectives.
Is government aware that they need to do that? Have you told them? Have you communicated?
We continue talking to them. Even now, I'm speaking to them.
True.
You know, government must be listening right now. Yeah, very many other stakeholders are listening, because I understand that whatever we speak here goes across the nation.
Yeah.
So we may not have to go maybe to the office of the Minister of Education. Maybe somebody in the Minister of Education has listened to this. Yes, maybe the PS or a commissioner or someone there will listen. We have always spoke about this because we are the implementers on the ground. We see these challenges, and I think we are the right people to identify these challenges and bring them out to government. Whenever we get a platform like this, we speak them out. Whenever we go to those workshops that they organize, we equally speak these out for the government to understand them, pick them up, and of course resolve them. We know government can't handle this at once, but step by step. The first step is to recognize that there is a challenge in the implementation, in the line of these supplies, given that the schools do not have enough resources. So, and I know Ministry of Education can take it up and have this resolved. It's all about giving some package, even equipping these laboratories, putting it upon themselves. We had a meeting at Ministry of Education last year in June, around, I think, April 1st. Then there was a follow-up meeting that was supposed to take place in June, which didn't take place. But we mentioned some of these things to government. But once that is done, I can tell you, Carlo, and the listeners, the viewers, Uganda is going to be great in the next few years with this rolling out of the competence-based curriculum.
That's quite a very hopeful prediction right there, and we do hope that the stakeholders can come up and, of course, concur and agree with the teachers or the teaching bodies, and then we better our education system, because it's all for the better. We are trying to look for a better Uganda. We are trying to look for better education systems and be able to compete on the world market. Have scientists from Uganda working in all parts of the world and causing positive change in our community. But we are going to take a very short break. Remember, we are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe, but we'll be back. Don't go away.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
If you're looking for comfort and luxury at its best, Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe is the place to be. Once again, we are back with issues at hand, and we were already somewhere with our discussion on, of course, the teaching community, our teachers, our dear teachers. You know, everybody, I believe, everyone, almost everybody goes through the hands of a teacher. That is how important they are. It is just sad to know that the people who make us who we are get little to no pay or get minimum payment. It is very sad, but we hope for an improvement in this sector, and also we hope that the issues that they are raising as concerns will be looked into by the leaders, and of course the solutions will come about as well. My name is Carol, and we still have our guest, Mr. Mugaiga Aron, Secretary General, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, a union that started in 2019 to of course mitigate challenges with the science teaching community. I would like to first cross to the President, General Museveni's comment recently as he was passing 413 head teachers in the greater Western Uganda, where he says that Uganda is too poor. It cannot sustain payments to the teachers very well. It's not to the standard that the teachers would have wanted. It's not the problem of the government. It is only that they do not have the capacity. Do you concur with that?
Well, thank you, Carlo, once again. You know, the president is a fountain of honor, and there is no better person who can understand how the economy is functioning other than the president. But it is the same government headed by him that has promised these teachers and other workers a phased salary enhancement. And they have implemented the first phase successfully.
Okay.
I think the president's speech is the one that people need to understand positively, in that where the economy is not doing well, but out of that economy not doing well, he has enhanced pay for the first section, and is calling upon time, be given time to allow him and his government implement another phase of salary enhancement.
Okay.
So my take would be that the teachers and other workers of government should remain positive. And together, all of us should remain positive as we give room for government to pick up another phase of salary enhancement.
Okay.
I do not know whether in this budget coming or the subsequent budget that can maybe explained by the Minister of Finance and maybe the PS. We are yet to see exactly what is entailed in the budget that is they are arranging.
Okay.
But our work is to extend our prayer to them, that other categories of workers, as I was very clear before, it's not only the teachers remaining. We have other workers of government, of the humanities section, where I mentioned the HRs, the accountants, those CFOs, those community development officers, all those, the cows, they are all there. So they all need pay enhancement.
Okay.
So our prayer is that that time from now to the implementation of the enhancement of the second phase is shortened.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe briefly, we should look at the teachers' policy, which recently was upgraded to require every teacher to have a degree. We do know that there are teaching institutions around, PTCs and NTCs and all that, that do not offer degrees. How is that going to be handled, and how are we going to make sure that this teachers' policy doesn't affect those people who are in those other technical institutions?
Well, the teacher policy that is being, of course, formulated and developed, positively, we look at its intention as a good one.
Okay.
And we had earlier asked the government, because they gave 10 years grace period for all the teachers who have not acquired degrees to get those degrees. We said, well, 10 years may be such a short time, because the teachers are earning less. Now, if they are subjected to go and take on some courses that will affect their pay again, and it may affect their services, the service delivery. So we asked the government if they can put bursaries and scholarships and give them to these teachers, especially those in PTCs, those in NTCs at the diploma level, so that the cost of these degrees is put on the shoulder of government. That will help these teachers to upgrade, because they are already in service, they are employed by government, but their resources may not be able to help them acquire these degrees. And the teachers are very positive. When you look at the institutions that are training teachers, like Chambogo, for example, there are many teachers who have applied to upgrade in the various campuses of Chambogo University. That already shows you how positive these teachers are to have this policy adhered to. But those may be many, but we have also majority who are still seated back. They do not have the funds and they don't see the way forward. So that is the area where we want the government to come in, and also to clarify the more on the line of the pay issue. Because if you want a teacher to get a degree and is going to be teaching in nursery or primary, will these nursery schools be able to pay this teacher an amount commensurate to the courses they have undertaken, the level of education? That's where there is a challenge. In secondary and above, maybe that one is okay. But when it comes to primary and the nursery schools, I think a degree is slightly too much. We need to rethink on how this is going to work out. Because if somebody with a degree, you're not going to pay 200,000. And this is what these people currently are paying. People of certificate there, majority. So that needs really to be scrutinized the more. But otherwise, we are positive with the policy and we support it. We look forward to its implementation in the best way possible so that it can improve the education sector. Okay. And of course, the teachers, Carlo, before we leave that point, you remember recently there was an issue of talk about how teachers should be cared for. Okay. I don't know if you can allow me to have something on that as well.
Of course, go ahead.
We see government now trying to improve the pay for teachers. Of course, it started with science teachers. But when we look at what the teachers need, salary is just one of them. A good salary that is commensurate to the work they do. But there are other needs that can be implemented and can motivate these teachers. Yeah. Because teaching is an emotional and psychological activity. Okay. It requires somebody who is going to execute it in the right way has got to be in their right state of mind. They must be emotionally stable and psychologically untortured. when I talk about the torturing, the economy not doing well and the teachers not earning enough, they are tortured psychologically and emotionally because they do not get enough to care for their families. They have children going to school, they have to pay fees, they have to take care of their families and all that. So, but one of the things that the government can continue to do is one, provide housing for the teachers. Okay. Let all government schools, let a policy be generated to make sure that every government school, wherever it is, there are government houses for the teachers.
Okay.
Then we have some little incentives, like the hard-to-reach allowances. We have other opportunities like the bursaries I earlier talked about and
scholarships, yes,
given to these teachers. Then we have schools which have a policy that they're implementing of child allowance, where the given teachers in that school are given an amount equivalent to the fees paid in that school, which will enable those teachers to pay at least one of their children.
Okay.
That is a good policy and it's an incentive, in our opinion, which is a good one. It motivates. But this is implemented only in a few schools, but not in all schools. If it can be implemented in all schools, such that wherever a teacher is teaching is assured of payment of fees at least of one of their children, from down up to the higher levels, I can tell you, Carol, that will motivate teachers. They may not even run for salaries. Another thing can be, like recently the president pledged 20 billion shillings to the teachers' circles, the circle of the Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, then the circle of the ULITU members, and then the circle of the private teachers. 20 billion shillings. That's also another good incentive. Because if this fund comes, we are actually asking government that this fund comes as fast as possible. The Minister of Finance, the Honorable Minister Matia Kasija, we are imploring him to make sure that this money comes as fast as possible. Because once this money is there, it means the teachers will not run to these lending companies, those money lenders, who actually exploit these teachers. They can easily get this fund at a low interest, and they can be able to start some side income projects that can enhance their pay. And this may result into even not agitating for salary enhancement, as long as they have some of these incentives.
Do teachers have medical insurance?
No, they don't. And that is another thing which government can equally venture in. If the teachers can equally get medical insurance, like these other high-profile workers of government, then it can motivate the teachers. Yes, we don't have to only look at salary enhancement, but also some of these things, if government works on them, as the Honorable Minister of Education was talking about them recently, I think it can as well add a break to our education sector development.
All right, maybe your last message, an encouragement to teachers as the term one begins.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity once again. Our dear teachers out there, all the science teachers in Uganda, and as well as the teachers across the country. We know today is the official date of reporting back to school. We have had a long holiday of about 2 months. We thank God for all of us that have been able to return back to school. And we condole with the families of those who lost their loved ones. But all the teachers now who have come back to school, those who have not yet come, we encourage you to do whatever it takes and get back to work and teach the children of the nation. We encourage all of you who have gone back to school to prepare well and get into the terms of teaching. After a 2 months holiday, many things may not have gone the way possibly you wanted, but now it is time to leave those aside and get back to teaching. Let us get time, get to schools, give time to the learners, especially the science teachers, the practicals. We need to make sure that the skills come out to these learners as they are designed in the competence-based curriculum. It needs more time. and we need to be there for the learners and for the schools. Yes.
Thank you so much, Aron Mugaiga, General Secretary, Uganda Professional Science Teachers Union, for such a beautiful discussion. We do hope that anytime we call upon you, you will be able to come back and shed a light on the issues affecting the teaching community. Thank you to all those that have been watching this program, especially to our dear teachers, the people who make us who we are. We are very proud of you, and we do thank God for you. The conversation was ongoing on our YouTube, where we streamed live. You can still go and join the conversation. Like, comment, and share with a friend or two, as well as other social media platforms at Church of Uganda Family TV on Twitter, which is X, Facebook, and Instagram. My name is Carol, and until tomorrow, have a very, very lovely morning.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.